Awesome.
Hey, PJ, welcome to the show. As a way of getting
All right.
started, tell us a little about yourself
Awesome, Brian. Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
and give us a little bit of background on you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually grew up in Gaithersburg, Maryland, all right, which I just learned is local to you, which is pretty cool because I love meeting locals. And, it's an online world, so I rarely talk to anybody, that's local to us. And I grew up in Gaithersburg. I initially started going to college, and then I got into the IT field via contracting, just being in the DC metro area, so many government contractors and stuff like that. And I was an MCSE, so I was a Microsoft certified engineer. And then prior to that, I worked at Best Buy as a PC tech, which is now Geek Squad. And then I got into computers because of my dad, because he had a computer reseller firm, and then got into government contracting. Then I started my first hosting company when I was 23. It was called WebNet Hosting. I had it for 14 years, which I sold to a company called Entirely Digital in 2017. We hosted about 5,500 customers globally. And it was primarily a platform where it was an e-commerce platform. So we hosted sites that were doing e-commerce hosting. And then from that, I got into video because I also hosted big data and video, and I didn't see a good way to monetize and sell videos. That's where I got into video monetization, and I launched my latest company, which is now 4.5 years old. I started it in late 2014. It's called Uscreen, and we work with over 2,000 creators, influencers, brands that sell and monetize videos online. So they're basically launching their own streaming service. They're selling online courses. They're making money with their videos, whether it's fitness, educational, even entertainment. So stuff like that. It's pretty cool.
And so how did you find this market? What was the use case or the example that you saw that somebody had a need and the market didn't provide that need?
Yeah, good question. When I was still doing hosting at WebNet Hosting, I saw the need for customers that were selling DVDs. And they were like, hey, the world's changing. Do you have a simple way to stream videos? And I looked around and I saw the first thing that popped up to me was Vimeo On Demand.
Yeah.
Still around. It's a shared platform. They take a 10% rev share. But I saw it was shared. I saw most of just the sites on there, the videos. It was a very it's just everything spread out between titles. It's hard to find what you need. And then there was another company called PivotShare, which actually sold to one of their customers. One of their customers bought it because PivotShare took a 30% rev share.
Yeah.
They started in 2012. And a rev share, Brian, was actually very common till recently. It started to actually go down because of providers like us. We kind of took that model and was like, we don't want to do rev share. We charge a platform fee. But because of music, video, distribution and monetization in like 5-8 years ago, companies like ours were doing rev share. Excuse me, we never did rev share, but I saw platforms that would do rev share. So my initial take on launching this platform was not to do rev share.
Yeah.
So I saw very limited platforms and I saw they were doing rev share. So because of that, I saw opportunity. But to be honest, and I was discussing this with someone yesterday, a colleague of mine, I never thought it would come this far. And now knowing the market better, it really is the beginning. What I mean by that is, look, I always looked at YouTube, and the first field test that I did is I went to YouTubers and some of the people that I could easily find on Google by Googling fitness DVDs and popular fitness folks that I knew were on YouTube or had DVDs. And I was like, hey, would your audience be willing to pay for videos considering you have a free YouTube channel? And more than half would say yes, they would, but they didn't really have a way to sell it besides the ones that sold DVDs. But now there's no question about it. People subscribe to Netflix, Hulu, they buy courses 5-6 years later. You see that? So it really is the beginning of owning your audience and selling videos directly to them for convenience, for the sense of community, which we give you, because ultimately we give you the ability to have your own membership site. So it really is the beginning. And I think there's going to be me and you and everybody listening will have a list of different subscription services that they're going to subscribe to outside of Netflix. It's going to be niche services. Like I subscribe to your podcast, but I might subscribe to your online courses or your video service just to be part of your community. right? Uscreen now allows you to have sort of like a private Facebook group feed within the membership site that's locked only to members. So you now become part of a community on top of digesting that content as well.
That's just because you're somewhere between kind of free videos, but not like this huge course, right? That takes, you know, a year to go through or months to go through, where it's more like closer to a webinar. Is the short form under an hour, or is it more than an hour? The content, the
Uh,
videos?
yeah, you mean the videos that our
Yeah,
customers are monetizing? To be honest, the answer to that question is it's all over. We have a lot of mini courses, a
yeah.
lot of drip, small, um, short form content, which you can, it's easily digestible. There's a lot of that. There's no doubt about it. But there's also a lot of courses. Like a popular customer I was looking at right before this call was Tint Yoga, right? Tint yoga.com. It's a German-based fitness company primarily producing yoga videos. So they have you subscribe for $10 a month, you gain access to all their yoga content, but now they're selling individual courses for $400 or $500, which is long form. It's 4 or 5 hours a course. A lot of our customers are actually doing teacher training, instructor training as well. So it could be all types of instructor training. It could be training for even churches where it's around pastors and instructors and stuff like that. So it's both short form and long form, but you're right in bringing that up because of the way the catalog is set up, because you get your own catalog similar to a Netflix. It's very easy to digest small bits of content.
Yeah. Okay. And so how do people consume it? Is it on their phone, on the computer, on the TV, all of that?
Yeah, absolutely. By default, you get a website, right? Website's
Yeah.
super important. Still, there's no doubt about it. Then there's the apps. Apps are, and the reason I say that is right now, what's happening in the marketplace is there's starting to be a lot of app builders and they're pushing, and it's easier to be just an app rather than having a website. The website component's actually the more complex part because of the
Yeah.
catalog, the ability to be mobile responsive, and then all the different features that come with a web platform versus an app is a template. It looks like Netflix. You're just scrolling, you buy, you gain access. So on top of the website, which is super important, a lot of the buying happens on the website. Then the creators also have an app, which we provide you for iOS and Android. And then you go, you subscribe, you have push notifications on the app. Basically, you get your own app in the App Store under your name in your own developer account. We do all the work to publish it. It's just we do all the work, you bring the content, and
Okay.
then you sell it to your audience. On top of that, we also get you on Apple TV, we get you on Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and it has Chromecast, AirPlay. So basically, a creator like yourself now has a membership site on the web as well as all the apps. So you're covering like 99% of where viewers are to watch that content. You buy a TV now, it's Roku ready. They go to your channel.
Wow.
Yeah, they log in once, it saves, and then they got all your content similar to a Netflix experience. It's awesome.
That is awesome, because I've been looking for something like that. Because I do online training, and
Hmm.
I go through like a Thinkific uh,
Yeah,
product, and it works pretty good, but they don't have a smartphone app, and that becomes an issue because some courses you want to do, short form daily lessons,
yeah,
and that person's not going to go onto the computer for a 5-minute lesson. It's much better
yeah.
to do it on the smartphone.
Awesome example. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, Brian. Let me input something on that. Great example. Thinkific Teachable, right? These are
yeah,
course platforms, and there's hundreds of course platforms. The difference, besides the fact that we give you your own mobile and TV app, which we publish and do the work for you, there's set that aside. That is definitely a difference that they don't do that we do, right? It's a difference of a video platform than just a course platform. But if you set the app aside, and then the biggest difference between a Teachable and a Thinkific and Uscreen, there's actually a big difference. We're a catalog setup where you can easily consume bits of content in a catalog. You could just go through categories. I want to watch this video, it's 5 minutes. I want to watch this one, 30 minutes. I want to watch this course, done. Versus a Teachable is an A to Z experience.
right.
It's beginning to end. You even need to go to the sales page of the course, read the long page, hit enroll, go to a separate page and consume the content from the beginning to the satisfaction of being finished. It has its own benefits. Versus Uscreen, you subscribe once, you enroll into the school or the course or the membership site, then you can back and forth consume all the content on all devices. You can resume where you left off based on each video. Completely the different experience. So we educate our customers on the difference, and I don't down those platforms at all. They're just completely different spaces.
Yeah, different thing.
Exactly.
And on the smartphone app, do you have the Uscreen app and customized app, or only customized apps?
Only customized app. We get you your own app.
Okay. And they're responsible for getting into the App Store and...
No, because it's very hard to get into the App Store. We do all the work to get you into the App Store.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, the negotiation with Apple in the review process, the negotiation with Roku, I bring that one up. They're tough. We do all that work. So we do all the publishing of the app. We have this saying, we say, you bring the content, we do everything else.
That's good, because pretty much every company today is in the training space of their product or their service. Mm-hmm. And being able to have that community and the connection with their audience in a deep way, a consistent, habit-forming way is what everybody wants. I mean, if you look at what happened to Peloton, right? It's a bicycle with an iPad on it, right?
That's right. Yeah.
I remember
super expensive too. Yeah.
Yeah, and they got a monthly fee to watch their instructors.
Yeah, it's an awesome concept to work out from home. It's a nice experience. We actually host and fully serve their competitor, SpinTV.com.
Yeah.
So spinning.com, they launched SpinTV.com last year with Uscreen, fully powered. It's a Peloton competitor. It's the same concept. We give all the apps and the website. The difference is you launch the app, you put it in there, you can put it on your phone, and then you use your own bike. I don't think spinning.com actually sells you the bike, but Peloton now has the same thing. It's just an app and you can put it on your own bike. But definitely the competitor to that is spinning.com, which everybody knows, and they're actually doing really well. So it's pretty cool to host them as well.
And how have you gone to market? Because this is totally different than your previous space, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. This company's been 10 times more challenging than the previous one, but but it's much more rewarding. Yeah, and you and I were actually talking offline prior to this call about some of the sales and stuff that we'll chat about. And I haven't done much direct sales. A lot of what we did is, honestly, we got a lot of referrals. We do a good job. We host some of the best brands as far as fitness goes, educational content. So they speak to each other, and we do a lot of content marketing, which is such a long form, tedious, expensive, time-consuming way to market. But it definitely works. You start to build a brand. People look online in Google as a search engine. It's one form of finding you, and then you come up in a lot of places, and you provide good content, and Google likes that, and people read it, and they build trust. The way I got into this business was exactly hosting videos, and it's very different than the previous company. Web hosting, like GoDaddy wasn't around at the time when I launched. I launched in 2004, they came around in 2007, but they completely dominated the space where I went and transitioned into e-commerce, another level of hosting, which is much more high touch. In hosting, I didn't have to build a software. That's probably the biggest difference.
Yeah.
I resold what's called cPanel, Web Host Manager. It's a licensed product. It's $30 an install per server. And then you take that, you put it on a server, and then you resell it to other people. So I never built cPanel. It wasn't my software.
You just managed it.
I managed it, exactly.
Yeah.
So it was easy money, to be honest. But obviously,
the margins went away.
Yeah, the margins, and it was much more competitive. As far as it was easy money in the fact that I didn't have to build the software, but it was still a business. It was highly competitive. In Uscreen, the difference is I have to build the software from scratch. And I will tell you, Brian, I think it's one of the toughest things I've ever done is to build the software to match an audience and a market. And the reason I say that is the software needs to serve a purpose, and you're going to get a lot of different customers that want to do different things. Honing in on that audience, whether it's small or large, to be able to serve them and be happy is probably one of the toughest things I've done. And the reason it was probably really tough, it was my first time doing it.
Yeah.
which I learned a lot from. But now our software, knock on wood, really kicks some butt. It's really one of the best ones out there.
And how long did it take before you got your first customer?
Yeah, good question. I got my first few customers really quickly within my first 6 months, I would say. And the reason, before I even started building Uscreen, the first like 60 days, a friend of mine was looking for a job, and I already had this idea to build this video platform. And he was a sales guy, very, very good one as well. And he was highly aggressive. And he was like, "Hey, do you know anybody that you could refer me for a job?" And I met up with him in Arlington. Um, and I was like, "Hey, I would love for you to just come sit behind the computer and find these prospective clients that I want to possibly sell to." And he did that. And he got
Okay.
a lot of different feedback. And then what happened is, when I built a very clunky beta version of this product 6 months later, I was able to go back to those 30, 40 prospects that he had spoken to saying we're building something, and get them on the platform. We made our first $1,200 to $1,300 a month in per month, our MRR, in our first year, with a completely like non-workable shipped platform to get feedback, which really helped. And the next 3 years, so our first 3 years, 2 years after that, was a lot of hard work and updates and headaches for our first 100 customers.
Yeah. I mean, because I see a huge market for it, because I was looking for this and I couldn't find this, because the learning management platforms, they'd
Yeah,
have an app, but it was really just like a web browser to their hosted app. So it
yeah,
wasn't
you're right
really
about that.
an app. And then you look at like online communities, but they were very thin. They didn't really have much functionality. And then they had the rev share people that,
You're right.
it doesn't make business sense if you're giving
Yeah, absolutely.
30% away.
Yeah, what we do, we're a video platform, we're a video monetization platform. Ultimately, we're a membership platform. And because of that, we're building a lot of community tools. You can upload your own avatar, you can communicate with other members, almost like as a Facebook group that's closed Facebook group.
Yeah.
It's not a Facebook group, it's that same concept inside the membership platform built by us for you. So with the community aspect is now really becoming important, because customers, your customers, right? And the customers of our customers, the end users, don't want to just subscribe, right? Like you subscribe to Netflix. They want to be part of a community.
Engagement and a community.
Engagement, absolutely.
Yeah.
So we're really focusing on that, on some really cool features. And what's interesting is about what you're saying is, this model of this video distribution and monetization is fairly new. Even though we started 4 or 5 years ago, like look at Vimeo. Vimeo now has multiple products. They just bought Livestream. They bought a competitor of ours called VHX 2 years ago, just 2 years ago, called VHX, and it's now called Vimeo OTT. OTT stands for the app, so you get your own apps. So that's our competitor, Vimeo OTT. Vimeo now has a direct product to us, right?
Yeah.
And think about it. The reason I bring that up as an example is, one, we honestly do a really better job at them. They're extremely basic. VHX that they originally bought was made for films and movies and not educational. The money's in educational content, right?
Yeah.
Being fitness and anything educational, drip courses, all the stuff that you're talking about. So it's extremely basic. They actually take a rev share. They charge $1 per member, right? They've removed all the integrations. They do the end user support. So we gained some of their best customers, right? Like one of them is called Yoga with Adrian. It was actually one of ImmuoTT's biggest customers that we gained recently. It is yoga, it's fitness, and that's a popular vertical. It's about 25% of our customers. But obviously, we're trying to constantly be humble and do a better job. But my point is not that we're better than them. It's the fact that look at Vimeo as a big name. They've always been a huge name for creators, and they came and become now a video monetization platform,
Yeah.
right? And it's very complex to be such a software. So that's probably one of the reasons we gained some of their customers. It's very high touch, and they're more of a host rather than a platform. But we're a platform, and we do a really good job, and we do one thing. We're a monetization distribution platform, membership platform. So the space is growing significantly, or there's no reason why Vimeo would come in such a space if they didn't see that it was growing and people want to own their own audience. So it's really the matter of getting everybody educated that such a solution exists.
Yeah. And what I'm seeing in the B2B space is this trend towards micro learning,
Mhm.
where companies want to teach their employees, 5 minutes a day on a particular aspect of the market, the product, something that keeps them learning. And I see this as the future in the B2B as far as learning, because you're not going to get a half hour like a yoga class. You'll do yoga for a half hour, but you're not going to learn about sales for a half hour a day. You're going to learn for, 5 minutes, great, 10 minutes, okay. After that, it becomes a little bit too time consuming. Have you looked at that market and what people are doing there?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. And that is the right word. Micro learning, drip learning, right?
Yes.
Where it releases little bits of content over time. Very popular. We see a lot of that. One of them is just Foodable. It's actually an entertainment channel for teaching you how to cook or just
Right.
cooking. It's fun.
Yeah.
You could say it's educational, but it's primarily entertainment. We see a lot of that. We see a lot of astrology, right?
Yeah.
Lots of fitness, sales, marketing training, a lot of that. So definitely, naturally, organically, that content came to us. We knew from the beginning by looking at the experience. Like you can go to uscreen.tv/examples. It's right on our website as examples. You'll see the customers that use it. One of them is Fader Pro. So it teaches you audio mixing and DJ mixing and all that stuff. It's a lot of drip courses. You
Yeah.
know, there's a general site that a lot of customers or listeners on this show have heard is Skillshare. Skillshare.com or lynda.com,
Yeah.
right? Uscreen allows you to build your own lynda.com. Now it doesn't, you don't have to have that much content. A lot of people actually take only 90 minutes of content and they make each video 3, 5, 7 minutes. All of a sudden you have a full catalog. You
Right.
literally have 100 thumbnails with 90 minutes of content, right? Or 40, 50 thumbnails. And it's worth subscribing to that, right?
Yeah.
A lot of programming courses, a lot of educational courses with, different languages and programming development and all that can be drip short form content.
That's it. And I have this argument with a lot of people who want to go to college. It's like, why do you have to go to that building and listen to that person in person
Right.
when that person's given that same lecture 1,000 times and you can watch it at
Absolutely.
your pace, go back and forth. When you get tired, you put it away, you pause it. And I think that whole way of learning is changing.
Absolutely right.
Cool. And where do you see yourself taking this in the next year or so?
I think in the next year we have a lot of stuff that it's already like in the pipeline of ideas to build. So it's super exciting. Our next 12 to 18 months is really full of ideas. It's kind of prioritizing what we
Yeah.
want to do. Number one, we focus heavily on customer service and success. So we don't just help you with technical questions. How do you set up your domain? How do you launch your apps? How do you upload your videos? How do you add the thumbnail? We really focus on helping you succeed. What are the best practices? What should you be charging? All that good stuff, building your site properly. We obviously give you themes, but we really focus you on success and best practices. We have a team of 3 people that we're just building to help you do that with this, because we have a lot of data,
Yeah.
right? We have a lot of data based on who watches content, what location, how long, how they organized. So we have some really big YouTubers. Most of our customers are actually not that large and they don't have that much content. I would say 70%. But 30% have really big followings. They come and they do really interesting stuff because they have 10,000 users or followers or subscribers that they're bringing on from Vimeo or from WordPress,
Yeah.
from MemberMouse, very old platforms. They're starting to learn about us and they're like to the product development. So the next 12 to 18 months is an awesome time for us because we're growing. We have really cool customers coming and I love seeing what they want to say and building that towards that audience.
Cool. Hey, I really enjoyed the conversation. Where can people go to learn more about your company and connect with you?
Yeah, absolutely. You can go to uscreen.tv. That's the letter U, and then screen.tv. You can also email me directly, PJ, that's P as in Paul, J as in Jack, at uscreen.tv. I'm happy to hear from you.